Welcome to Hashtime with Navguzi Chiwanuka. This is a place where we help you unravel social constructs, discuss self-development in line with mental health, emotional well-being, and everything in between that directly or indirectly affects us in the millennial world around us. If you're hearing my voice for the first time and are the kind of person who is not scared of being a better version of yourself even if it requires you to contradict who you were 24 hours ago, consider this your virtual home. I'm your host, Navguzi Chiwanuka, and I cannot wait to engage with you in the various conversations. Oh my, oh my, oh my. A to the right, A to the left, A to the back, A to the front. We closed season 3 with moments of reflection and assessment from a few guests from season 3, and the plan was that I would have my moment as well to reflect, but I just ran. See, 2022 was a wild year for me, but when I say wild, I mean it in a mind-blowing way. And I couldn't be more grateful for it. You remember the gratitude thing that I created in the first quarter of 2022? I had plans to go through the different 2022 moments of gratitude. But time just couldn't allow me. I'll get to it though, not as 2022 moments, but as things I've come to experience because they have a lifetime impact on me. Before we officially open our hands to receive season 4, I am sorry for running away from you. I heartily apologize. And I say, oh my God. And I say sorry while laughing because I know for a fact that I needed to have a break, but it was so hard for me to rest, like I mentioned in yesterday's publication. So when I finally realized that I could rest, I grabbed the chance like, hey, we're running with this rest, we're not turning back. You know, in Luganda we have a proverb, which loosely translates that when a madman offers you something, just grab it there and then, lest they change their mind. And that's exactly what I did with the rest. The moment I could grab rest, the moment I could find rest, I was like, we're staying here. There is no way I'm going back. And that's what happened. So where have I been? What has been happening? Here I am to tell you. So besides the anxiety that came with what will I do if I finally close season 3, I had an emotional slump. So while talking to the phenomenal Cheta in episode 94, he mentioned that it is from pictures that he gets to evaluate and reflect on his life's journey. I found it quite interesting and unique. I thought I couldn't relate until I opened Facebook to announce episode 94. If you're active on Facebook, you know quite well how these memories keep popping up. So when I opened Facebook on the day I published the episode I recorded with Cheta, Facebook pulled up a memory of a post I made during the period I first contemplated suicide. The image had my teeth flashed in a broad smile. Maybe it wasn't broad, but it was flashing. And yet I know so well that I was hollow on the inside. So what I did with it, or the post itself, I didn't even read the caption, is that I just saw the image I wanted to read, but I couldn't bring myself to read. But it made me realize what Cheta was talking about. See, in the period I took that specific image, I hated waking up, and to see that I had almost forgotten, or when I realized that it was triggering, I just, downloaded the image and deleted the memory. Like, no, not today. You're not going to trigger me. I was just thrilled with the fact that, dude, I am on the 94th episode. We are closing season 3, and that is where I wanted to invest my energy. I saved the image because I knew at one point I will have to, talk about it and share, something that might have happened in that period. So much as I wanted to focus on the good mood, good energy, celebratory moments, season closing, and all those kinds of things, my mind just couldn't flash out the image. Like I said earlier, it was triggering. Remembering that period and how I was surrounded by friends who weren't aware that I was looking for ways to die made me go mute and scared, wondering how tough it would have been for them to make sense of how possible it is that someone who spent days with them could die by suicide. It made me realize how complex it is to be there for someone, because most of the times you can never tell when things are going south. And because this kept popping up in my head, I was really struggling. I noticed that I had to deal with my emotions. Like, facing them is always the way around it, because when you run, it gets a moment of catching up with you, sometimes at a very wrong time. So I decided to face my emotions and deal with them. I opened up to someone on whose bed I took the picture, and I thanked her for unknowingly saving me. And by that, I mean that I used to go to her hostel room at any time. Her doors were open. I used to love my personal space so much, but when I realized how hard it was for me to live with myself and my thoughts, I started getting out of my hostel room more. And it helped a lot. While I was having this conversation with her, the word growth acquired a new meaning. To see that I could open up to a friend about how I was suicidal, something I would never have done in 2014, was a major growth point for me. I am also almost sure that had I made mention of it in 2014, chances are that she wouldn't have had a single idea of how to digest that information. And just when I thought that, okay, I think that has been dealt with, it is out of the way, my emotions are gonna get superb and close the season officially, news about Twitch dying by suicide came in, and I went mute. This man had just celebrated his wedding anniversary with his wife. And again, Twitch's death is an exemplification of how we can never know if the care we give to our loved ones is enough. We often talk about how complex marriage can be, but I couldn't imagine having to share a bed with someone struggling with the idea of offing themselves, and I have no single idea whatsoever. I went mute for the kids and the wife. I cannot confidently say that the family had no idea because I don't have the news. But at the same time, that cannot rule out the possibility of a family doing everything they can to have their loved one alive, and yet the loved one still gets overpowered. From the various episodes that we have published on this podcast, we have established the fact that the mind sometimes overpowers one's willingness to stay alive. In cases where one sees their family laboring to keep them alive, yet they aren't getting any better, shame and guilt takes a toll on them. That's making them feel like a burden. You and I can tell what usually comes out of that. Now, let's go to people's reactions. When the news of Twitch's death got known, check on your strong friends and check on your happy friends were prevalent reactions. And this is something that happens every time mental health or anything close to the subject is talked about. And that makes me really uncomfortable because in a way we get to limit ourselves to what emotional struggles may look like. I mean, who is going to check on your sad friend? Who is going to show up at the doorstep of your crying friend? There are so many possibilities of you choosing to focus on your happy or strong friend, waiting around for when they will break down, and they just don't. And I get it. We all mask emotions differently, but some people are genuinely happy. And your choice to focus on digging up what they're masking will just not yield any result. let's just try in our best possible ways to be kind to one another. It's a step towards contributing to the greater good of society. So, what's new? What is different? Maybe there's some news that are going to keep coming in, of course, but for now, it's important for me to highlight the fact that communication is going to change a little bit. In the second half of 2022, I opened some sort of newsletter that I used to communicate with Hashtimers that had subscribed to it. It won't be functional for some time. There are some works being done on the website. However, if you have Telegram, you can search for Hashtime with Navguzi Chwanuka and subscribe to the Telegram channel. Communication and more stuff will be channeled there. The other thing that is important for me to communicate to you is that I am open to doing business with you and anyone that you know that is running a business. Let them contact me and we run ads for them on the podcast. The podcast is listened to in 82 countries, so I don't know how far you intend for your business to go, but if you want to build brand awareness, my podcast is open to amplifying your business voice. Last but not least, this year we shall be celebrating Women's Day in style. And if you're anything like me, you already know that Women's Day shall be on a Wednesday. Announcements about how we are going to celebrate the day shall be made. Just sit tight, save the date, and be ready. Be ready to hang out with me that day. And for the first time since I started podcasting, this season shall have a theme. And that theme is be intentional like never before. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Hashtime with Navguzi Chwanuka. If you loved what you heard, be sure to subscribe to Hashtime with Navguzi Chwanuka in your podcast platform of choice and share it with your friends, loved ones, and everyone that you believe is affected by the millennial world around us. Also, feel free to share your insights about what connected with you on social media and be sure to tag us. We are at Hashtime with Navguzi Chwanuka on Facebook and Instagram, and on Twitter, our handle is at HTNK Podcast. I look forward to hanging out with you this year. And for now and the rest of the other months of this year, be intentional like never before.